afternoon. I'm Phil Shepard with the Richmond Public Library, and I'd like to welcome you all to a performance entitled Our Pictures Portfolio 2, presented by the Chamber Music Society of Central Virginia. This is the 14th concert in this season of the Gellman Room Concert Series, and it is our last concert of the season. Our next season will begin in September. All of the recordings of this concert all of the concerts in this season are available on Richmond Public Library's YouTube page under the Gellman Room Concerts 2022 to 2023 video playlist. Before we welcome the performers, I'd just like to acknowledge that we have a very special guest. Lynn Vandeness is here. Lynn has kept this concert series going and taught me everything that I know about introducing performers in the Gellman Room. So please give a warm welcome to our performers from the Chamber Music Society of Central Virginia.
Thank you for the enthusiastic applause. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good, good. My name is James Wilson. I'm the Artistic Director of the Chamber Music Society of Central Virginia. We have a very unusual program for you today. It's our last concert of our 18th season. Yeah. And this is a very special concert of premieres. Of a project that we call Our Pictures, and this is a project that was dreamt up during that year, 2020, when a lot of things didn't happen, and a lot of exciting things did happen during that year, and one of them was that music had to become something else, and oftentimes that something else involved video or art or dance or any other kind of art combined with music. And I personally thought this was incredibly exciting. And so I thought, well, what kind of project can I do coming out of this that would have that kind of vibe to it and also celebrate our hometown of Richmond here? And so I came up with this inspiration from Modest Mussorgsky's famous Pictures at an Exhibition, which a lot of people know. And that piece was, the composer was inspired by an art exhibit like you have here. And so what he did was he wrote a piece based on individual pieces of art. And you can really hear that in the music. And so what I did was I approached a number of composers who have roots or who live here in Richmond. And I asked them to just compose a piece about Richmond. But has to be inspired by something pretty specific. And then at the end, so we're at our second year of doing this, the final process will be to stitch them all together into one big piece. And it'll be a pretty big piece of music. It'll be probably 35 minutes piece of music. So about the length of the Mussorgsky, which formed the inspiration. So that's tremendously exciting to me. And so for today, we have three composers, Ben Bruning, Crystal Folkestad, and Chloe Biggs. And very exciting to have these people involved in this project, and I'm thrilled that we can bring this to life and have all these fabulous musicians as well. Please take advantage of our digital program, which will tell you everything you need to know about today's concert and the musicians, and also about our organization. We just announced our 19th season next year, which will be fabuloso. So make sure that you check it out. Tickets are on sale. to all the ticketed events. And we'll be back here for our free series in the Gellman room 3 times next year, including the big burrito Our Pictures production, mega production. So make sure you come back here on September 30th for that. So first up, I would like to introduce our first composer, Ben Bruning, and we also have Bill Martin, who's one of the directors of the Valentine Museum, to talk about Triple Crossing.
Complex spaces in Richmond, Virginia. How many people have actually been to the Triple Crossing? When you're there, it's really this interesting place because you see interstates and canals, you see creeks, you see it all. And it's really the nexus point of so much of Richmond's history. But we're going to talk, yes?
Louder. I will try.
I'm a quiet person. I hope this works better, but we'll see. So guess what today is? Today is actually National Railroad Day. So it's an important day in Richmond. Who knew? Who knew there was going to be national? And I'm fascinated by the railroads in Richmond because we often think that there's something that happened after the Civil War, right? And yet we see in Richmond as early as the 1840s, railroads being extended to the coal fields around the city. So it's Midlothian and Chesterfield and Goochland. And these begin to connect into downtown in some really interesting ways that make the center of the city, and particularly this area, the center of a lot of trade. In the 1850s, we begin to see these much larger railroads expand out of downtown. So it's the Richmond-Danville line. We could actually get to Danville. Virginia Central, which went to the west, and the RF&P, which went to Fredericksburg and up the river. And all of those railroads, and certainly one as early as 1859, plays a critical role in the slave trade. It's a story that's not often told, but there are paintings that show, there's one single painting that is particularly important that shows where the Federal Reserve Building is located today, not that far from Triple Crossing. People being loaded into a freight car after their sale in Shockoe Bottom. To go from that sale, you would have had to have passed through this area at the Triple Crossing. And so, again, this complicated story, and there were railroads coming from here and there and everywhere. And we wanted to make sure that those railroads came together. The Southern is running by 1859. By 1900, you see the consolidation of a number of rails. And so it's the Southern, which was going to West Point and to the north. There was the Seaboard, the other line that's there, going south to Petersburg and really ultimately on to Birmingham in Florida. And then the C&O in 1801 goes west. And if you're downtown today, you can still see those coal cars rolling through the city. But it went on to Louisville and Cincinnati and Detroit. And so by 1901, the Main Street Station is built and begins to consolidate those railroads. But there's only the Triple Crossing. There's only the Triple Crossing, sits in the middle of all of this activity. And I will just, as far as anyone knows, there has never been an accidental crossing of 3 trains at the Triple Crossing. So what do we have? The first intentional triple crossing was 1911. That's how much time it takes to get three railroads to talk to each other and coordinate. And so there's been one in 1949, in 1968, in 1980s. And so we gather at this interesting spot today, don't we? An interesting spot in Richmond's history, and one that I think allows us to take a look at just beyond those 3 bridges, those 3 railroad bridges, to look beyond at Richmond's history. So thank you for the honor and privilege of being here today. I hope that supports. All right. Thank you, guys.
Very nice. Thank you, Ben. One of the more fascinating things about this project to me was that out of all the 6 pieces that we commissioned over these past 2 years, not one was based on a pictorial image. So we had pieces based on a poem, we had pieces based on scenery found around Richmond. We had pieces based on a letter by Maggie Walker. And I think the most intriguing topic was written by our next composer, Crystal Folkestad. And maybe, Crystal, you could talk about your piece.
So, hello, I'm Crystal, and there are basically 3 reasons I came to write this piece called Good Black Dirt in Sublime Black Hands. The first one is because the book The Secret Garden was one of my favorites when I was a child, and I have had ringing in my ears this refrain from the main character. She's a girl who goes off to live. She becomes the ward of this gentleman who has a large estate, and the gentleman is a widower, and she finds this abandoned space and finds her way into the door, and she sees it. It's this garden, technically a rose garden if I remember correctly, that has not been cared for. It's overgrown. It turns out it was the man's wife's garden. But this child, she finds it. She takes care of it along with one of the servants who's also a child. They bring it back to life. They see that he teaches her that it's still alive. And one of the things she says, she realizes that she's just kind of invaded this space. And so she finally goes to ask her guardian this question: might I have a bit of earth? Am I allowed to own this thing that I care for deeply? And so that idea of taking a piece of earth and restoring it, caring for it, it's been in the back of my mind. I have had nothing to do with gardening in the majority of my life. I have gotten into hiking a lot, especially since the start of the pandemic, kind of incrementally going my way into buying a tent last year. But that's been coming. But The Secret Garden, the book, is one of the reasons I came to write this piece. The second reason, of course, is Richmond. I moved to Richmond in the fall of 2018 and lived on the north side, and in 2020 I moved to the south side. And as I was trying to learn what is here, what's around here, I came to know about Sankofa Community Orchard, which is part of Happily Natural, which is an organization that celebrates Black culture in Richmond, but also is geared toward wellness. And part of that wellness is food. That putting gardens in places that are food deserts, where people do not have access to fresh food, the way that people who can drive 10 minutes to a grocery store that's 5-10 miles away have access to fresh food. And so that's the idea behind these particular community gardens in the Richmond area, and they also support a project in Petersburg as well. And so I came to this space, and there are murals with images like this bird. Sankofa is actually this bird that is looking at either an egg or a seed, but it means go back and get it, to recognize what from your past can help you go live your present and go toward the future. And so Sankofa Community Orchard is named after that idea. And in this space, I felt very welcomed. I felt at peace. It became a space where I both volunteered to help plant some seeds and shovel compost, but also a space that was very peaceful and giving to me. And so this piece is about how I felt being in this space that centers Black people in a city that has not done so as much in the past. And I guess the third reason is it's it's something that continues in my life. This morning I planted a rosemary plant in the community garden, McDonough Community Garden, which is also affiliated with Happily Natural. But it is also something that comes from my family. I did not expect that I would be gardening, growing my own food this year. But I realized that it's meaningful to me because my mother's grandparents were farmers, and both of my grandmothers had gardens in their backyards. They grew fruit, especially, and my aunt, my entire life, my father's sister, has had a garden everywhere she's lived, and I've seen that and come into that. So I write this piece as someone who has found that growing food and sharing community with others has become very dear to me. And so I look forward to you hearing what all of that has fomented and produced in sound. Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you, Crystal. Next time, a resonant wooden floor for your piece is so amazing. Another fascinating thing about this project for me has been the use of instruments by the individual composers. So I gave them all 6 composers a choice of string quintet, so string quartet plus bass, plus woodwind quintet. And we had a couple of our composers write for the full 10 instruments piece, which is very exciting. And then Crystal, your piece is the smallest of it. But I love the variety of ensembles that are there. The most unusual combination, I think, is what you see before you. So flute, clarinet, bassoon, horn, cello, and bass. And this combination was chosen by Chloe Biggs. And maybe, Chloe, you can say a few words about your piece.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I really felt like, so for my piece, a lot of what was going on had to do with how I viewed like nature in this city. A lot of it was initially inspired by the area around my school, which during spring, all the dogwoods, which are really prominent in that area, like bloom, and it's really pretty. So there's like that one view of nature as really beautiful, and then there's another view that I sort of have which views nature as very ancient and old. And this duality of views is what I tried to represent here. I got a lot of instruments that I wanted to sound very woody because a lot of it centers around trees and their sort of form and shape. It's also heavily inspired by The Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky, which is a very good piece. And obviously, but yeah. Thank you to my performers. Thank you all for showing up.
Okay, Academy Awards time for me. So thank you for everybody that made this project possible. Thanks to all the musicians, all the composers. Thank you for Virginia Commission for the Arts. Hooray, everybody give a shout out. And thanks to all of you for coming to hear this. Come back on September 30th to hear the full piece. And have a great summer, everybody. Thank you so much.